Ini spesialnya suruh suruh dapat tes.
Mic test. Sorry. Um, to the online participants, can you guys please test your mics?
Hi.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Can you please share your slides?
Okay, I'm going to share it.
Good afternoon and welcome to the judges, teachers, guests, and participants of FRSIS 2024. Now I would like to introduce our judges today. The chief judge is Madam Rosnani Binti Nazri, Senior Lecturer, Faculty of Applied Science to ITM, Arau Perlis. The second judge is Mr. Muhammad Farhan bin Adnan from Sekolah Sultan Alam Shah. And our third judge is Ms. Syafiqah Amira binti Saleh from Sekolah Menengah Sains Pasir Puteh. And I, Hariza Kwan bin Abdul Razak from Sekolah Menengah Sains Al Gajah, while timekeepers Nur Afika Humaira binti Zairul Azhar and Joanna Vishala binti Muhammad Rohaizan are from Sekolah Menengah Sains Tuanku Syed Putra. Now, allow me to read out the rules. Number 1, each team should consist of presenters and a technical assistant. The presentation must focus on the sub-team assigned to the team. The duration of the presentation should not be more than 10 minutes. The bell will be rung once at the 9th minute and twice at the 10th minute. A question and answer session will be conducted after each presentation. Now let us welcome the team from KABATAŞ ERKEK LİSESİ, Turkiye. Please share your screen and get ready for your presentation. I think they are ready, and without further ado, let's hear from our friends from KABATAŞ ERKEK LİSESİ, Turkiye.
Hi everyone, today we will be talking about promoting biodiversity is the way forward. First of all, let's talk about the content. Firstly, we're going to say who are we and introduce ourselves. Then, how is the situation about climate? After that, understanding biodiversity. Then, the role of promoting biodiversity conservation. After that, possible solutions. Last of all, what will change, and we will finish the presentation. So this is our team. I am the speaker, and my name is Dilay Arslan-Türk. Elif Naz Yılmaz, Ecological is also a speaker. Özgür Özcü is our head teacher, and Zeynep Ece Üçbudak is our technical assistant. So if we want to solve the problem, we need to understand what is climate and how we affect it. Of course, everything we do has an effect on environment and climate. If we burn fossil fuels or if we cut down trees, which is called deforestation, the environment will be affected badly, negatively. So with these changes that we do, the climate is changing and global warming is happening, which is the rise of the temperature in the world. So with this, more frequent extreme weather events and shifts in weather patterns are occurring. After climate, we can understand what is biodiversity. So I would like to say that environment is like a spider web which is connected with each other, and if we affect one of them, the other will be affected easily and automatically. So biodiversity is the variety of different species live in one place, and they work together, of course. They have an habitat and a balance. So as I said, if we change one of them, if we burn fossil fuels and if we cause deforestation, these animals and different species will be affected negatively too. And the role of biodiversity conservation, of course, not animals and plants are affected by these changes. We are affected too. For example, we need food and which we take from the environment. So if we destroy it, our food supply and fresh water supply will be destroyed too. Also, we have ecological balance. The animals and plants are living in a balance. So if we change something, the balance will be destroyed too. Also, genetic diversity, it is vital for adaptation to changing environmental change. So if some species are becoming extinct, then the genetic diversity will be ruined. These are all really important for us. Also, there are economic benefits of the environment and cultural importance. So if we destroy the environment, all of them will affect us too.
So, since we are the ones who are destroying the biodiversity and the environment, um, we are the ones who have to take action, who have to take precautions about that topic. So, what can we do? First of all, of course, protected areas are very important. These protected areas can be national parks, wildlife reserves, or marine protected areas to provide safe habitats for animals and plants. Those protected areas um, will give animals or plants some better life conditions and will make them increase their population. Secondly, we can use our resources wisely. We can promote sustainable farming, logging, and fishing practices that will protect the environment. What I mean by the sustainable farming is using less chemicals as least as possible. Also, using crop rotation system, which means like planting different crops in the same area in different times of the seasons. And what I mean by the sustainable logging is maybe not harvesting all the uh, uh, trees in an area, just maybe cutting down the old ones, the less healthier ones, and also planting trees after cutting some down to balance the number. And what I mean by this sustainable fishing is maybe setting some quotas that will limit the number of fishes that a person hunts, or like um, setting some limits to the areas, like seasonal closures that uh, fishing will be forbidden for a season, for a temporary time, so that the fishes will be able to grow, they will be able to breed, and their population will grow, so they won't be in the danger of getting extinct. Also, as we all know, the public education and the awareness is very fundamental about any kind of topics, and as well as in this one. So the education level of public proportionally is proportional to the steps the governments will take, the more educated the public, the easier the steps we will take, the easier the practices we will be applying. And what else we can do? Of course, scientific researchers about biodiversity, about the ecosystems, and the relationship between these species is very important. So the governments should focus more on these researchers. And of course, the technology is improving day by day. So we have to make sure that we use technology, we don't miss the opportunities it gives to us. So integrating technology into our scientific researchers is also a must. And finally, as we all know, biodiversity problem is not something that affects a small area. It affects the whole world. And if we want to keep living on this planet, on the Earth, we have to work globally. We have to work as a team. So it's crucial to work with other countries internationally and decide what is best for the environment and apply these agreements. Also, the financial support given to any kind of researchers or practices should be increased, and enough attention should be given to these topics. So, what may change if we do all the practices I have mentioned before? Here we can see a graph. This is actually a global goal for nature. And in this graph, we can see that nowadays the biodiversity is decreasing a lot. And if we take precautions, if we take action about that, a full recovery by 2050 is expected. But this is a quite optimistic graph, actually. But we have to be optimistic and take all the responsibility and do what we have to do. So what will happen if the biodiversity increases and it recovers? Of course, it has so many benefits in ecological, economic, or social ways. So what are ecological benefits? First of all, biodiversity supports pollination, it supports nutrient cycling, water purification, and soil fertility. It also, according to research in diverse ecosystems, it's easier to withstand climate change, diseases, and extreme weathers because you know the biodiversity, the natural animals and organisms there obstruct this. Also, the biodiversity helps restoring degraded habitats. It supports more species and also ecosystem health. So, what are economic benefits? The more the biodiversity, the more the job opportunities, of course. There will be more jobs in ecotourism, in sustainable agriculture, and forestry if the biodiversity is rich. Also, healthy ecosystems, lower costs for what happened? Also, we don't have to give any more efforts to the what happened?
Can you
Whatever.
please show me the slides?
Just a second. Okay, so it will be easier for us to so we have to give less effort to water purification, flood control, and disaster mitigation. The costs will be lower for sure because why, as I said before, the natural organisms there will help us with the water purification, with like climate change, with flood control. So we don't have to make many extra efforts. Also, the richer biodiversity means there is a higher chance of us discovering new medicines or materials by finding some new species of plants or like helpful animals, etc. So that's all for us. Thank you all for your attention and time.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin the Q&A session, and I invite the audience to ask questions to the presenters. I now invite the judges to give questions to the presenters.
Okay, thank you very much. Here is evening, so I'm just going to say good evening. Girls, first of all, congratulations. That was a very good presentation. Thank you very much. So in your presentation, you've mentioned about how it is important for everyone to be educated about the awareness of biodiversity. And you've said that there are things that you need to do, which is to improve or enhance educational programs. So can you give me an example of an educational program that you think is suitable for all the learning ages, for students of all learning ages? So an example of an educational program that you think that is suitable for all ages. Thank you.
Presenters, do you want the judge to repeat the question?
Oh, yes, please.
Okay, sorry. So my question is, what are the examples of educational programs that you think is suitable to be conducted for all ages?
They're in the backstage right now, so.
I can answer the question. So, as I know, there are some new programs about this topic. They are starting mostly new, but it's called sustainable classes. They're educating people and mostly children about the importance of climate and the importance of like promoting biodiversity conservation, and they are providing a public awareness about this topic. Also, we can organize some symposiums or conferences to the older people so that they can learn about this topic, they can gain the awareness, and they can take action.
All right, thank you very much.
Hi, very good afternoon. My question is that in your abstract, you mentioned that you use quantitative and qualitative data analysis. So could you please enlighten us all about what you did quantitatively? Thank you.
Could you repeat the question because we couldn't hear at all?
Okay, the question is, according to your abstract, you mentioned that you did quantitative and qualitative data analysis. Okay, so could you please enlighten us about the quantitative data analysis that you did?
Thank you for your question. We had a graph and it contains the past year's data and the predictions about the future. So we get the idea that biodiversity conservation is reducing in these days, but it's predicted that it's going to be increased in the future. So we did the comparing, and we get the results.
That concludes the Q&A session. Thank you, judges, for the questions. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we have come to an end from our friend's presentation from Turkey. And thank you for the interesting and informative presentation. Online participants, you may leave the StreamYard studio. Thank you for joining us. the presenters from Sekolah Menengah Sains SEMBRONG for their presentation.
Biodiversity is the cornerstone of life on Earth. It encompasses a variety of life forms, from the smallest of microorganisms to the largest of mammals. But in recent years, human activities such as deforestation has caused an increase in climate change. To overcome this issue, we have chosen education as the main point of our research topic. There are two main points on why we chose education. The first is awareness. By making students aware about the importance of biodiversity, they understand better about the loss of biodiversity and the impact of its disappearance. The second is the interdisciplinary learning. By integrating biodiversity concept across various subjects, it allows students to better understand about the topic efficiently, thus enriching the overall curriculum. Before we begin, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good evening to the audience and the honorable judges. We from SM Science SEMBRONG will be presenting our research titled Empowering Biodiversity Conservation Through Education at Schools. Our team consists of the presenters, me, Hafi, and Arham, our moderator, Batrisha, our technical assistant, Auni, I am also the rapporteur, and our advisor, Mr. Farid. Now, on to the background of our research. We wanted to explore the role of education in helping to promote biodiversity conservation to students at school. Following that, we wanted to better understand how school facilities can help students to apply the knowledge that they have learned about biodiversity. On to the problem statement and the research objective. We have encountered two problems regarding our research. The first is the effectiveness of the current curriculum in helping to promote biodiversity conservation to students. Secondly, there is a lack of necessary school facilities that can help students to apply the knowledge they have gathered about biodiversity conservation. The objective of this research is to provide insights on the effectiveness of curriculum and the facilities in helping students to understand better about biodiversity. The second one is to enhance the application of biodiversity conservation in schools via suitable facilities. Moving on, we will explain the methods we use to gather data regarding our research. We use two methods, which is scholarly articles and questionnaire. We use scholarly articles because of its concise and credible information, as it has been peer-reviewed by people who are more knowledgeable about the topic. We use questionnaire also, as we have gathered data from 10% out of almost 1,000 students from our school, making it so we have information that is in line with our research topic.
We will continue with the findings and suggestions of our research. We'll start off with findings of education. As we can see, the majority of our respondents disagree that the current curriculum is spreading awareness of biodiversity to students. We found out that this happened because the current curriculum way of spreading awareness is too much theoretical and exam-based. Biodiversity is a topic that should not be this way. Instead, it must be practical. And this will make, if this way of theoretical and exam-based continues, it will be a boring topic to students. Students tend to forget things that does not meet their interests, which is why, if this way continues, it won't help to spread the awareness of conserving biodiversity. So we suggest two ways to counter this issue. First, school can simply hold school programs or even campaign. This will provide hands-on learning to students, and they can also learn about biodiversity conservation with their self-interest and can deepen their understanding about biodiversity conservation. Secondly, by establishing school gardens, it will introduce to students about the vast variety of plant species in the world. And by placing signs with clear fun facts, the student can know about the plants and the benefit it can give to us in return if we take care of it.
Now, this pie chart shows student thoughts on if there are any facilities that can help encourage biodiversity conservation. A majority of students, which is 60.6%, said yes, while another 19.7% said no and maybe. We wanted to delve deeper on why there are still some students that disagree with this statement. After analyzing the data, we have found that there is an inadequate amount of suitable school facilities that can help students to apply the knowledge. After that, most students lack knowledge to properly utilize the facilities. Even if they have proper knowledge, they still don't have the skill to utilize the facilities, thus causing a failure of facilities to help promote biodiversity conservation to the students. We suggested two ways on how we can solve this problem. The first is sustainable building practices. By showing students and explaining how these building practices work, for example, harvesting rainwater to water plants so it does not waste tap water, and installing solar panels to reduce carbon footprints, it instills a sense of commitment in students to apply this knowledge. As the second one is educational signage and interpretation. By installing informative signage such as posters in places that students gather frequently, we ensure that students see the posters regularly. Other than that, installing interactive displays in places that students also gather frequently helps them to better learn about this, as it is fun and students are intrigued by learning this way.
And finally, to the conclusion of our research, we found that the relationship between education and facility plays a crucial role. While education helps to spread the awareness to students, and facility helps the students to practice what they have learned in class. That's why responsible parties should invest in any education program and facility related to conservation of biodiversity. We hope that after this presentation, students can gain deeper understanding about how crucial it is for them to play a role in conserving biodiversity and foster a lifelong commitment to save our biodiversity from facing extinction. Here are some of the references that we have used during our research. That's all from us. Thank you.
Thank you, presenters. We will now begin the Q&A session, and I invite the audience to ask questions to the presenters. Now I will invite the judges to ask questions to the presenters.
Okay, thank you very much for an interesting presentation. So you were talking about how you are using, how you are advocating for facilities to be adopted in schools. So my question is, in your opinion, should your suggestions be adopted to schools worldwide, nationwide? Who will be responsible to maintain these facilities that you have said? Who are going to be the people who are going to be maintaining the facilities that you said? Is it the teachers, students, and why?
Can you repeat the question?
Sorry, I was saying, should your suggestions to provide facilities to school nationwide be adopted? Who do you think is responsible to maintain the facilities? The teachers, students.
Thank you very much for the question. Yes, I think we should adopt this everywhere. And the people who will
Be responsible.
Huh?
Be responsible.
are responsible for these facilities are everybody. teachers, students, staff, as everybody is inclined to help conserve biodiversity conservation. Does that answer your question? Thank you.
Hi, thank you for the eye-opening sharing. Could you please enlighten us a bit more on the data that you got from the research papers?
Yes. Is it?
Twenty-one. 21.
Regarding the research paper, we have found that actually not many people are doing research regarding this topic. So, actually, we use the research paper as a control. The most information we got was from the questionnaire, and the data from the questionnaire we used to compare with the research paper, and that is how we got the data from our research. For our research, there are some research paper that we have found actually rather than these two, but only these two are actually about promoting biodiversity conservation using education. Does that answer your question?
That ends our Q&A session. I would like to thank the judges for their questions. Now let us welcome the team from Princess CHULABHORN Science High School SATUN from Thailand.
Good afternoon, judges, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Theravit Karidrung.
My name is Faisan Haimasale.
My name is Ravina Mankaki.
And my name is Sunwani Langyanai. We are from Princess CHULABHORN Science High School SATUN. So, since 1970, according to the World Wildlife Organization, the world has seen a significant drop, 68% in animal population. Much of the loss is caused by the deforestation and the habitat destruction. So nowadays, as you can see, global warming is a critical challenge today, and is exacerbated by the deforestation. Tree is acting as a natural carbon sink, and is absorb the carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. Deforestation also threaten biodiversity, disrupt ecosystem and also impact on the community that relying on the forest. So here is the global deforestation statistic. According to the World Resources Institution, it said that 31% of the Earth's surface is a forest, but only 18% of the forests are protected from the deforestation. So as you can see, since 1990, over 420 million hectares of the forest was lost. And in the 2020 alone, the forest was lost by 25.8 million hectares. As you can see, agriculture is the one factor that vanished, that have affected 80% of the tropical forest loss. And now in the future, by 2030, only 10% of the forests are remain. And let's take a look and see at the bar chart right here. This bar chart tells us about the primary loss since 2003 to 2023. So if you take a look right here, you will see that most of the loss of the forest are caused by the non-fire related. So that means it's caused by human or agriculture, for example. And nowadays, there are a lot of the tree planting project, but planting tree is meaningless if we do not follow up and maintain them. The study of the UK Center found that 18% of the planting sapling will die within the first year and is raising to 44% within the after 5 years. So let's see, if we plant the tree and we track it often and we active maintenance it, it will be like this picture right here. So it will grow up and we will get a lot of benefit from it. But if we do not do it, it will die at the last. So here is the reason why we should start to track the tree that we planted. So today we are really excited to introduce you our groundbreaking project. It is an application called New Hope. New Hope is an application for tree restoring, tree planting, and for monitoring to combat global warming and the deforestation. And also it support SDG 15, Life on Land. So New Hope empower people, the user that use this app to restore the forest, protect biodiversity, and also connect with the like-minded people that want to talk about the environmental conservation. So let's say it's embrace technology and sustainability tool in the New Hope. So this space will be the best one.
Okay, so this is how New Hope works. Firstly, you need to sign up an account and log in. It's a quick and simple process that everyone can do. Secondly, when you start planting a tree, you have to enter some information about it, such as the type of the trees and the date you planted it. This information can help us to track your progress and the impact you are making. Thirdly, start tracking your trees. We start tracking your trees by measuring their height and diameters. Starting at 120 meters height and start at 120 meters height, and then we will send notification to remind you to check your trees growth every 2 months. If you are busy, it's okay. You can ask for associations like volunteer groups to help.
So come to the fourth one, track your impact. So New Hope also provide the information about the carbon reduction that the tree that you planted reduce. So you will see the impact of your action. So for the next page is my garden page. So here is my garden page. My garden page will display the tree that you planted, the amount of tree that you planted, and also the carbon absorption that the tree you planted absorb. So you see all the action that you did. And also in the future, New Hope also have a plan to add a carbon credit system into the system in the application, like the so in the future, New Hope will allow the user to earn the credit from the carbon reduce that your tree have reduced. So you will be able to trade the credit, and also you will gain an economical benefit while helping the environment.
Next, we will talk about space. At this platform, we will provide the space to communicate and sharing each other for about planting trees with other players. You can see the sharing information and coordinating between users. So it seems like a video game, right? Yeah, because we have a chatting each other between users and having a competition for giving collecting point in carbon credits for our New Hope project. Okay, next we will talk about our mission. We have 3 missions, that is protect, restore, and promote. The first one, we protect. We protect sustainable ecosystem from lost natural habitats and land degradation. The secondly, restore. We restore this forest and wildlife from the deforestation and desertification and urbanization from the global warming. And the last one, promote. We are promote sustainable ecosystem, where it is the key to our own survival, find the targets and take action on it. Tree tracking map. Every user will be able to see the number of new trees has planted on the map. And New Hope will display the map of location that we users we have planted trees. And New Hope aims to target a population of ASEAN member states or Southeast Asian here. ASEAN cooperative environment. According to ASEAN, we have a contract for about ASEAN cooperation on environment. So we think that target is launched in a feedback is good, guided by FRSIS Vision 2025 that strive to promote and ensure balanced social development and sustainable environment meets the needs of people at all times through coordinated efforts to key priority areas as outlined in FRSIS Blueprint 2025.
And here is the demonstration of our application. So here's the first place. If you click at the play button, you will see the virtual world, and the character will be able to explore the world. And if you look at the top right here, is a menu function that you can click here. And if you click at the plant the tree, you will come to this place, and you will have to put an information about the tree that you planted in the real world here. And you will be got a tree collected. And now if you want to track the tree, you will click over there, and you will be able to select the tree that you want to track. For example, here, and you will have to add the information. And here you go, you will got this result. And good job. And lastly is my garden. As I mentioned before, my garden is the one that you can see your impact. And here is overall demonstration of our application. So if you think about New Hope, it's a new hope for our world, addressing deforestation and climate change through technology. So thank you so much for your attention. ขอบคุณค่ะ
We will now begin the Q&A session. I would like to invite the audience to ask questions. I would now like to invite the judges to ask questions.
Okay, thank you very much for such an interesting project. Okay, kudos to you guys. So my question is something that I would like you to ponder. So your project is interesting. What I would like to know is what is the future that you envision for your project? Can you just tell us a glimpse of what you see or what you hope to see about your project in the future? Thank you.
Sure. Thank you so much for the question. So in the future, we hope that our application will be on the Play Store or the App Store, so everybody can access to it. So for sure, if everybody can access to it, they will play it. And you know, like our project is really aging free. Like the children, from the children to a mature or the old age can use it, and that means people in every age can learn from our application and can have a knowledge from it. So they will be able, like the world will get better and the global warming will be better in the future for sure. I hope so.
Hello, hi. I think I have to like commend you for your incredible idea.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so my question is a bit similar to Mr. Farhan's. I just want to know if so far, because apparently it's not on Google Store, the Play Store, or any other platforms, because I actually tried Googling it and I'm kind of interested. Okay, but how far have you gone with the launching of the app? Is it just you using it as perhaps a pilot test, or have you like introduced the app to anybody else, perhaps at your school?
So at first we use like people in the group we use for like we try and we use it, and like our teacher suggests us to let our student, like our friend and like a senior and junior in our school to try it. If they like it, so we will be able to know like how we should fix it, how we should, yeah, we want a recommendation. Thank you.
Our Q&A session comes to an end, and I would like to thank the judges for the questions. And thank you to the presenters from Princess CHULABHORN Science High School, Satun, Thailand.
Thank you so much.
Imagine you're a farmer who spent weeks growing your precious crops only to find out that it's being eaten by sparrows.
The only rational solution would be to kill them off one by one, right?
No. Unfortunately, this was the case in China back in 1958 until 1962. Under Mao Zedong's leadership, the Four Pests campaign targeted rats, mosquitoes, flies, and sparrows as pests. However, following the elimination of sparrows, the locust population soared. Since locusts are known for destroying crops, this eventually leads to a devastating crop loss and famine to occur in China. The root of this problem tallies with our problem statement for today, which is people lack the feeling of responsibility and care towards sustaining biodiversity. They don't realize they play a vital role in taking care of nature. Therefore, in order to overcome this problem, we propose the implementation of environmental citizenship, which is a concept that we will elaborate as the presentation progresses. The parameter for our research for today is ecological diversity, which is a diverse array of ecosystems within a geographical location. Specifically for this research as well, we will be focusing on youths in Malaysia. Before I continue, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good evening I bid to the honorable judges, the timekeeper, the moderator, and everyone present today in this room. We, the students from SERI Puteri Science Secondary School, will be presenting our research entitled From Barriers to Butterflies under the sub-theme Promoting Biodiversity Conservation is the Way Forward. The team consists of me, Nur Siti Atira, Hawa Hazrina, Farzana, Fiha Zafira, and our teacher advisor, Ms. Duratul Nakia.
Before we continue with our presentation, allow us to enlighten you with the contents and the objectives of our research. As for the contents, we'll be covering the objectives, the methodology, the research findings, which is divided into 4 parts, and the conclusion. Next, for the objectives, we aim to assess the level of awareness among students regarding the conservation of biodiversity. Secondly, to determine whether youths are willing to take part in conserving biodiversity. Third, to suggest ways to encourage youth's involvement in conserving biodiversity. And lastly, to identify the impacts of youths actively participating in biodiversity conservation.
Our methodology comprises of both the qualitative method and the quantitative method, where we conducted literature reviews of journal papers and articles from various verified sources online. Besides that, we also conducted a survey among 80 secondary school students to assess their level of knowledge regarding the concepts of environmental citizenship and their willingness to partake in environmental-based activities.
Ladies and gentlemen, moving on to our first part, what is happening in today's world? Teenagers are aware of the current environmental issues. However, their level of active participation towards addressing these issues are not enough. The factors to this are high cost, social stereotype, insufficient institutional involvement, coordination and funding, inconvenience, lack of mentorship and support, and limited access to resources. Moving on to part 2, where we'll be discussing regarding the participation of youths. According to our findings, we can conclude that 3 out of 5 students, which is the majority, are interested in taking part. Here are a couple of our survey results to support this statement. When we asked them whether they are interested in participating, over 60% said yes, while the others are still in doubt. We also asked them what will motivate them to participate, and majority of them agreed that hands-on restoration projects are the best way to do so.
Now, we will be discussing the third part of our presentation, environmental citizenship. The question is, what is the meaning of this concept that my friend Atira introduced earlier? For your information, environmental citizenship is a concept that highlights citizens to have a pro-environmental lifestyle and be responsible in preserving nature and biodiversity, rather than merely acting as consumers. There are 2 notable features of this concept that we would like to highlight. First, EC exists on both local and global scales. This is because many environmental issues and their effects exist at a global scale. However, they require local community responsibility, our focus today being Malaysian youths. Second, EC involves an internal motivation of justice, or what we can call as embedded ecological justice. So, how do we propose to implement EC? Well, the answer is through collaborations among youth groups, government agencies, and NGOs. This is because collaboration reinforces existing feelings of responsibility and care for nature, as well as the willingness to act. Moreover, collaboration increases public environmental activism and community building in youth. For instance, PowerShift Malaysia, a non-governmental organization, hosted a youth action climate training camp from 5th of July till 8th of July in 2023, where local postgraduates were equipped with skills such as creative campaigning and project management to develop and implement projects in the Sabah community to improve the environment there, as well as strengthen their own knowledge regarding the environment and the climate. Secondly, EC can also be implemented by increasing environmental literacy among youth. With a more advanced level of literacy, it would be possible to develop youths who can efficiently solve problems using a mix of intuition and logic to build solutions. At the same time, environmental literacy can transform one's youth with nature. For instance, Eco Schools Malaysia is a program that integrates environmental education into the curriculum, thus encouraging more students to practice sustainable habits from a young age. Moving on, why should EC be implemented? This is because EC can increase youth participation in environmental issues. More than just recycling or switching off the lights, EC requires new ways of thinking and acting. Hence, it is important to instill this sense of responsibility in youths to increase their participation in supporting nature and protecting biodiversity. Moving on, EC should also be implemented to stimulate the youth interest in the green job sector and innovation. In this modern age, we can witness the rapid growing of the green job sector. Thus, it is important to encourage more youths to consider a career opportunity in this sector. At the same time, innovations in this field can also lead to breakthroughs and new practices such as waste-to-energy technology and biodegradable packaging, which can give a more positive impact on the environment in the long run.
Now, moving on to the last part of our presentation, we're going to talk about why we choose to focus on youths as our primary target. Firstly, youths are at a stage in their lives where they're more open to new ideas and perspectives. Their willingness to learn and adapt makes them ideal candidates for adopting and promoting sustainable practices. By instilling these environmental values at an early age, we can ensure that these principles become a natural part of their lives moving forward. Secondly, youths are also known for their creativity and innovative thinking. They often bring fresh and unique perspectives to the table, often thinking outside the box to solve problems in ways that older generations might not consider. This creative energy is crucial for developing new solutions in order to overcome the environmental challenges that we face today. Additionally, youths are already equipped with a significant amount of ecological knowledge. Growing up in an era where environmental issues are increasingly highlighted, they become more aware about the importance of sustainability and the impacts of climate change. This knowledge base makes them well prepared to take on the role of environmental citizens. Moreover, engaging youths in environmental initiatives can have a far-reaching impact as they can influence their friends, families, and communities. Their enthusiasm and commitment can inspire others to join the movement towards a more sustainable future. Now, to strengthen our point, we have asked the students' opinion on why they think that youth's involvement is important in conserving biodiversity, and the majority of them states that youths often bring fresh and innovative ideas. Ladies and gentlemen, as we reach the end of our discussion on environmental citizenship and its significance, it is important that we emphasize how this novel concept holds great promise for our future as it embodies the ideas of individuals recognizing their roles and responsibilities in fostering a sustainable environment. Ultimately, environmental citizenship empowers individuals, particularly the younger generation, to be proactive guardians of the environment. As the leaders and decision makers of tomorrow, young people have the opportunity to champion through environmental causes and integrate sustainable practices into their daily life. This proactive approach is vital for realizing our environmental goals and to ensure a healthy and sustainable planet for future generations. To end our presentation, let us all strive to become proactive environmental citizens in our journey towards sustainability. That is all from us. Thank you for your attention.
We will now begin our Q&A session, and I would like to invite the audience to ask questions. And now I would like to invite the judges to ask questions to the presenters.
Okay, thank you very much. So good job on presenting. Congratulations. So my question is quite simple. Based on the topic that you have presented, what are the roles of adults, or the boomers, as you would say, in creating or shaping Malaysian youth to embrace ecological biodiversity? I repeat, what are the roles of adults, okay, in making sure that the youth are embracing ecological biodiversity in Malaysia?
All right. To answer, thank you for the question. So to answer this question, what are the roles of adults in helping the youth in maintaining ecological diversity? So to answer this question, we can look at it from a perspective of the school level. For example, our school has implemented a program where students are required to practice the usage of reusable containers. So, if adults or parents of students were not to support this movement or this program, then how will students themselves be able to practice this type of programs?
Okay, all right. I have one question for you guys. Can you please give me one example of NGO in your place or country and tell me what they did to contribute or to create awareness among youth?
Thank you for the question. To answer this question, an example of a non-governmental organization that has contributed to increasing the environmental citizenship in youths is FOMCA, which is the Foundation of Malaysian Consumers Association. So one concept that they have introduced under environmental citizenship is actually sustainable consumption, where they have launched campaigns to encourage the youths to practice the usage of sustainable habits such as recycling and using reusable containers. Thank you.
With that, we end our Q&A session. Thank you, presenters from Sekolah Menengah Sains Seri Puteri. You may now be seated.
Malaysia, known for its amount of palm oil plantations. Yet, this begs the question, should we expand palm oil plantations or conserve biodiversity? Assalamualaikum, I bid to honorable judges, cunning timekeeper, and lovely audiences of the hall. With the title, Expanding Palm Oil Plantations or Conserving Biodiversity, a curious case in Malaysia, with myself, Nur Arifah, and my team, Imran, Bohori, Rina, with our lovely advising teacher, Sir Amzari, will be discussing this research. What is palm oil plantations? Suggested by the name, it is a farm where palm oil is produced and managed, while biodiversity conservation is the managing and protecting of wild habitats. Before we move on, you may notice that a lot of our statements have citations. This is due to the fact that we want to make a more comprehensive analysis, thus improving our credibility. So what is the problem? Said by Wilkoff during 2010, palm oil is the greatest immediate threat to biodiversity conservation. However, it is also the primary source of income, said by Pablo during 2017. which will be further explained by this picture. You see, the more palm oil we produce, the more the climate will change. Due to this, it will also result in the decrease of palm cultivator, which will decrease climate change. You see, the reason this is such a big issue because we are making a cycle which will never be ending, ladies and gentlemen. Now that we have known the research, we will be moving on to our research questions. Number one, we want to know to what extent does palm oil plantations combat climate change? To what extent does biodiversity conservation combat climate change? And finally, to what extent is Malaysia ready to limit palm oil plantations to conserve biodiversity? Now, you may notice our research questions actually correlate with our objectives because we want to examine if palm oil plantations and biodiversity conservation combat climate change, and we would also like to know if Malaysia is actually ready to limit palm oil plantations in order to conserve biodiversity. Ladies and gentlemen, there are a few methods used in this research. We did a mixed mode because, set by Creswell during 2012, mixed mode combines both quantitative and qualitative research, which is very extremely beneficial to us. Our qualitative research, we did interviewing three primary individuals, one from WWF, one from FELDA, and another one, an economist. The reason we chose them is because we want in-depth answers. We want our research to have in-depth answers, and we believe that these people have the expertise that we need for our research. Thus, we also did a quantitative research by a questionnaire because we want to know if the public perceives the idea kindly. Do they want to limit palm oil plantations to conserve biodiversity? We also want to see how the public reacts with our research. Now, an important note, for our questionnaire, we did try to prioritize expertise. For example, we did try to prioritize FELDA and WWF first. So, who did we interview exactly? First, Miss Nudila binti Ibrahim, who is an employee at FELDA. For those who don't know, FELDA is one of the world's largest palm oil plantations, which is very fitting for us to question her, don't you agree? These are some of the questions that we will be given. However, we will only be highlighting two of the answers that directly answers our research questions. The next interview is Mr. Muhammad Hasif bin Swadi, who works at WWF. These are some of the questions that we will be asking him, which relates to our second research question. Because WWF prioritizes in wildlife, we believe that this RQ is suited for him to answer, which he did. And finally, our last is Dr. Muhammad Khair Afam, who is a senior lecturer in economy. We have given in the questions regarding the third RQ. To what extent is Malaysia ready to limit palm oil plantations? And he has so graciously given us his answer. And that concludes the qualitative research. Moving on to quantitative, the most frequent age range that answered our Google form is from the age of 16 to 20, with 50 and above, both with the frequency of 10. The majority of that answered our Google form is female, with the minority being male. Unfortunately, due to lack of time, we will not be discussing all the questions. Thus, it will be displayed here. Our first question regarding the first RQ: to what extent do you agree that palm oil helps combat climate change? Surprisingly, a total of 17.1% of people strongly agree with this statement, while the lowest common answer being 5.7% of people disagreeing. The second question regarding our second RQ is the question: do you agree that protecting species helps solve problems by climate change? Astonishingly, a total of 48.6% of people strongly agree, with the second highest answer being 40% of people agreeing with this statement. Finally, our final answer, with a total of 27.8% of people strongly disagreeing and 33.3% of people disagreeing with the statement, Malaysia is ready to stop the growth of palm oil plantations to protect its wildlife. Now, moving forward to discussions, which is our views taken by both qualitative and quantitative research, which is further supported by citations. The first discussion: palm oil plantation is less effective than forests and other greeneries. However, it does sequestrate carbon, as said by Kusin during 2017. That said, converting forests to palm oil plantations reduces ability to combat climate change by a staggering 50%, ladies and gentlemen. Our second discussion, set by the WWF employee, preserving forests helps tackle the greenhouse effects. Also supported by Frucci 2017, which he says it also enhances climate resilience. Finally, our last discussion, set by Ismail during 2019, who said that Malaysia's dependency on economic makes it unprepared to control the palm oil plantation. Now, with all of that said, we know that palm oil plantations is not good for combating climate change. And we also know that biodiversity conservation is really important in combating climate change. However, due to the fact of Malaysia's dependence on economy, it is not a suitable answer to limit palm oil plantations. Thus, we have a few recommendations. Our first recommendation being reforestation, because trees absorb carbon dioxide, set by the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, IPCC, during 2021. Our second recommendation is revamping palm oil plantations, because revamping means improving palm oil plantations using two ways: agroforestry and biorefinery. Set by Yahya during 2023. Agroforestry is planting various types of plants in palm oil plantations. Doing this, it will attract birds and other animals, thus protecting and conserving biodiversity and life on land, ladies and gentlemen. Finally, biorefinery, which is converting waste into something useful, for example, biochemistry and compost. Unfortunately, we do realize our research has limitations. Due to the fact that we have such a limited time, our sample size is quite small. So it might not adequately represent all of the communities and all of the public awareness that we need. To conclude, we as a community citizens, related organizations, and governments have to work together to fulfill this ideal reality. Because, ladies and gentlemen, life on land is very important, and we have to conserve biodiversity because it is important for moving forward. Because, ladies and gentlemen, remember, this is a race we can win. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
We will now begin the Q&A sessions, and I would like to invite the audience to ask questions.
So, why did you choose palm oil as your main focus?
Okay, thank you for the question. Funnily enough, the reason why we choose palm oil plantation as our main research is because our school is practically surrounded by palm oil plantations. Furthermore, we did a further research on palm oil plantations due to the climate change that affected our environment. Thank you.
All right, simple request. Can you briefly explain more on why did you choose Felda as one of your places to have the interviews?
Okay. Thank you for your question. To answer that question, as mentioned before, our school is surrounded by palm oil plantations. And ironically enough, palm oil plantation is all of the a lot of the fields are under the management of FELDA. This makes it very convenient for us as FELDA has a lot of knowledge about palm oil plantations. Any more questions?
And with that, we end our Q&A session. I would like to thank the presenters from Sekolah Menengah Agama Persekutuan Bentong, and you may be seated.